Greetings and welcome to the Fireside Chat. My name is Kairos, and with me is a lot of people: Howard, Jennifer, Emily, and Cameron. Say hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey everybody.
Hey.
Alright, so last time there was no Fireside, but now it
weeks.
is.
We
2
haven't had
weeks
Fireside
even.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. Because, well, I don't remember why we didn't do it. I think it was just because we were so busy prepping for Embr release, which happened last week.
Yeah, it did.
Embr is now available in early access on Steam and Stadia.
Buy it.
Do it. Yeah.
Check it out. Join the Discord if you have questions, or if you just want to group up with people, or if you find bugs, or if you have good screenshots, or if you record a video, anything to do with Embr, the Discord is the place to be.
Maybe you want to say hey to me. Ask me about my day. Go to the Discord.
Yeah, ask Cameron about his day. He needs more people to ask him about his day.
It's true. Very lonely. Need
Yeah.
more friends. All
Yes.
right.
Yeah, so we have Cameron today. Very
Yes.
Yep.
special
And
Fireside.
Howard.
Yeah. And Howard, yes.
Howard's here sometimes. Cameron is
Rare treat.
special guest though.
Yes. He's a
Yes.
special boy. He's here for special Fireside.
So if for anyone who doesn't know, I am if you haven't beaten the game and looked at the credits, I am the lead level designer and one of the assistant programmers with Embr. So if you can't find a stack of money, you can yell at me. Or if a particular piece of level geometry is
I can't
always giving
find
you
a
nightmares.
stack of money.
I was actually just last night. My friend was like, where's the last stack of money on Utica?" I was like, "Oh, which ones have you found?" And he's like, "This one, this one, this one." I was like, I don't remember where the last one is. And he's
Top
like,
of the treehouse.
No, he had that one. He had the top of the treehouse. He had the one at the end of the hallway, and he had the one in the room in the back. And he couldn't find the last one.
On
I didn't
top of the
remember where it was.
refrigerator, on top of the kitchen counter.
Yep, up in the kitchen. But I couldn't remember where it was, and I was like, and he's like, "Yeah, I got the money finder, and I don't know where it is." I was like, "All right, hang on 1 second," and I just pulled up the game real quick on my computer, loaded the level in Unity, and Controlled F money, and I was like, "Oh, it's in the kitchen."
The hardest things to find are the ones that you have to look up for.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting way to find money. Wish I could do that.
People are so bad at
Control
looking up,
F,
like,
50 cents. Oh, it's behind the couch.
Yeah, no, that's seriously, that's one of the things I learned pretty early on in when I was learning level design, is that people will never look up unless there's some sort of indicator for them to do that. So you can use that to your advantage or to your own detriment. So that's why a lot of small bonusy things are hidden up, but a lot of people who are hidden, they're usually hidden on the same plane as you. Like, even one of the more craftily hidden people, I think, is the one on Utica who's above the stairwell even. And the thing is that if you ever walk down the stairs, like, he is at eye level with you, but the thing is that people will round that corner already looking down so that they can walk down the stairs. And he's running around, he's moving around back there, and sometimes the movement will catch your eye, but a lot of times people will just run up and down the stairs and into the bathroom like, where is he? Where is he?
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite hiding spots that I've put together. And a lot of times these will just kind of come to me as I'm, as I put together level geometry. I will put rooms and locations, and then I will usually connect them by hallways. And well, the first thing I do is I generally each level that I build, I like to have an identity. So when you go back and you think about a level, I would imagine that very few players have memorized the names of every level, but they know, oh, it's the one at night with the treehouse. Oh, it's the first one that you play that's like just kind of like a normal neighborhood. Oh, it's the really tall one on stilts. Oh, it's uh it's the one at a restaurant. Like, all of these quick, like, one word, one sentence things that make a level kind of stick in your head. So after and there's usually some brainstorming sessions with the team to come up with some really good solid ones for that. And then what I'll do is I will move forward with that concept and that idea, and I'll put all of the rooms in place and generally build a shape of the level that I think is either visually unique or I think will be fun and interesting to navigate around. And then I will connect all of the buildings. We'll build hallways around them and kind of fill in all of the little gaps and spaces. And it's in those filling in the gaps and spaces when I start beginning to think of ways and places to hide people. Because every level has a handful of people just running around in a bedroom. And those are interesting because bedrooms are usually at the end of hallways and far away from doors, so you have to travel into the building to get them. And then the more cleverly hidden people are the really unique per level ones, because those hiding spots are just sort of determined by the natural way that the level fits together based on how I built it. I don't usually build hidey holes and cubby holes and whatnot. They just sort of, by nature of how the level fits, that they just kind of appear. And I'm like, it would be really funny if there was a person here. And sometimes I'm right.
Someone asked, do you like creating objects such as flat screen TVs and long tables which are hard to get through doors?
So that is another one of those happy side effects. The art team, will put together those props and pieces and whatnot, and the salvage game mode was added much after those objects were created and placed in some of the levels that we had done. And so we made sure that they were able to fit through doorways and all of that stuff. But it's a nice little spatial challenge, because those are some of the really expensive items that you want to make sure you get out of the house. You can throw 4 chairs out a window, no problemo, but picking up the table, and it's just like in real life, moving. If anyone has ever moved like tables and TVs or any of that, like, it is maybe not quite as hard as it is in Embr, but it is difficult.
Still a nightmare to do, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, some stuff at least you can take stuff apart in real life.
Yeah. No, that's why I was just thinking about, like, how did we install the dining room table I have in my place? And it was like, oh, that's right, it was IKEA, so it was just one big flat packed box that we just like slid across the floor and then assembled in our house.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite is always trying to move like reclining chairs, or even not even reclining chairs, but like big chairs. You always have to kind of put them on their side and then just move them in and around the corner as they go through the door.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because they're also like impossible because their center of gravity is in a weird place because of the back of the chair, and it's hard to grab. And
and they'll be like too wide to just go through, so they have to I don't know how to explain it, but you
gotta like get it in perfectly
around,
and then move it around and scramble it. And
you want to read those questions, Renee?
Can there be a TV warehouse map?
You just want to steal a bunch of TVs. I see you. I know what you're after. You don't think that level design would be intricate and interesting to explore. You just want a million TVs in one easy to reach location.
This is marginally related, but have you considered making things less valuable when they've taken damage? Like having the value
Is that in right now? I remember having this conversation. I remember having this conversation with Matt.
Not that I noticed, but I think it
I don't think it
does.
is, though. All I have to go off of is what it says when you pick it up, which might not reflect it.
Yeah.
If
I
yeah, if
do you remember? I do remember having. I think we did have that in, and then we found out that made salvage like even harder because it's already one of the hardest like Ember Prime things to do. Honestly,
right,
like it's as much fun as it is to just grab and yeet everything out the nearest window.
salvage is
You
tough.
know, the exact and it does even vary by level as well, and it doesn't scale with the relative difficulty of completing the level. Like Grab and Go is bugged right now, and where the fix is in. It's just we need to. It's when it comes out to you guys. But even going back and testing that in that fixed state, I was like, this is not easy. Like this is an easy level, but salvage here is a challenge just because of the amount of props that are in that level for you to move about. So that's an interesting thing to me. I think is that the bonus missions don't necessarily scale with the difficulty of the standard missions, just because of the nature of the way that each of them work.
Right. Real question though. When my hoser getting its own playable team?
Oh man, we have thrown around the concept, and this is first an if and second in the future. So once again, maybe in the future, having some sort of like Hoser versus Ember conceptual game mode or something like that. We want to make sure that it um, doesn't just turn into you running in the building and hitting other people with the axe.
PvP
Because
mode.
yeah, because that it would be fun like the first couple of times to do that, but you know Ember is not like a melee combat game like Chivalry, like if you just want to go in and hit your friends with axes and stuff, like Chivalry is a lot better system for that. Um, if we were to have a PvP game mode, we would have to make sure that it is designed in such a way that players would want to and be incentivized and enjoy interacting with the mechanics and systems in the way that they do right now for PvE. Big quotes on E. I don't know. I guess a fire's environment, um, and so that kind of similar to Guns of Icarus, actually, where you never directly interact with another player. You have to move through the system. You have to get on the gun and shoot the particular components of the other enemy ship, and the pilot has to make sure that everything's in the right position, and the engineers have to prioritize repairs and whatnot. But you never actually shoot another player. There's no boarding in Guns of Icarus.
As much as
And-
players want it to be.
yeah, because as soon as boarding gets added to the game, it becomes worse Chivalry or worse Call of Duty. It loses its uniqueness. So if we were to add a PvP mode in Ember, we would want to make sure that we play to the strengths of Ember, which is not hitting people with an axe. It is interacting with the fire and electricity in interesting and unique ways, and you know and it also has to be technically possible. Like as much as I would love to have one player in some master control room, like a la Scooby-Doo villain, like today I will cause problems on purpose, and turning on and off electricity slots and starting fires in areas and throwing clients around and all of that, like that is technically difficult to put together, and would require a lot of meetings and conversations to um, uh, get that in a good state. And right now, our number one priority is finishing out, just getting more levels to you guys, just getting more Ember base content before we put a really, really heavy twist on it. That being said, this next district that I'm putting together right now, I think you'll find has a good twist on the Ember formula. We've been we just had a lengthy meeting this morning, going over all of your guys' feedback, and taking into consideration how to make sure that the next district is testing you in the same ways. The lessons that you learned in the first district are still going to apply in the second district, but we want to make it feel different. The way that you navigate and move through and think about levels. We're going to take those lessons that you've learned in District 1 and in District 2. We're really hoping that you guys are going to be just thinking about the spaces in a different way.
I see. I'm going
Any
through
more?
comments here.
Many.
Many more.
A bank map might be fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting that you say that. Thinking emoji, thinking emoji, thinking emoji.
Or a mannequin warehouse.
I think
that's-
one map that would be cool is maybe almost like a campsite or something similar, where you have to there's campfires that are like burning trees, and the public bathrooms at campsites and stuff.
Yeah,
But-
we did experiment with a level early on that was not mostly outside, but had very heavy outside components to the navigation of it. It was basically a bunch of individual rooms, and there were environmental hazards that you were moving about to get between them. And we kind of found that the most interesting spaces to maneuver within Embr are internal spaces. Those sort of condensed, enclosed areas are what lead to fun and interesting moments, and more wider open spaces. Particularly making firework outside is shockingly difficult. You would be surprised how difficult it is to work the Embr simulation outside, and even a level like Barrel Factory, the fire simulation actually does not extend into the first and last rooms of that level. So if you I think I made it so that there are no flammable surfaces in the first or last area, specifically because I didn't want the fire to spread into those areas regardless. But if you do something like grab an explosive barrel and spray it with the hairdryer, it won't heat up the barrel because this in the first or last room, because the simulation doesn't extend there, because I think some people with we know that there are some frame rate issues on that level, and that's just because it's so big. And one of the ways that we were able to make it manageable is to kind of lop those first and last rooms off of the simulation grid.
See.
There's a fun fact for your wiki.
Citizens leaving 1-star reviews because the woods caught fire after walking away from their fire.
Their boots caught fire?
Woods.
Oh, the woods. Oh, set the forest on fire. 1 star.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the bank map. For a bank map, would you have drills?
Oh no.
Are we not going there?
That will fail every 10 seconds.
Oh man, no, that I have too many hours in Payday 2. I went on a couple years ago. I went on a huge Payday 2 stint. And actually, most of my favorite games of all time, people have in some way or another compared Embr to, and that makes me so happy. Someone said Firefighter Payday 2, and that made my day.
Yeah.
Someone said review said that with the right gear you'll be climbing up ladders like a righted up Naked Snake. Metal Gear Solid 3 is another one of my favorite games of all time. So once again, having my game compared to that made me happy. And oh gosh, someone else said in a Steam review, Overcooked Rainbow Six Siege. So that was.
Someone said, Jen, you've been playing too much Payday. Muse office on fire when?
Muse office on fire.
They want an Embr Muse office level.
First of all, this already happened. No, it happened in 2011 or 2012, somewhere.
Really? Oh my gosh. Oh, was that at the downtown office?
Well, yeah, we were in this share space downtown, like in Chinatown, and someone like threw a cigarette down the trash chute, and then it caught fire, and it just so happens that the trash chute is like right next to our room,
Oh
and
no.
it burned through the sheetrock or whatever, and our whole room like caught fire, and it's like I don't know, like I guess the sprinkler went off and everything, so it's like a smoldering ruin, like everything was ruined.
We are really, really, really unlucky when it comes to making games in natural disasters.
I mean, I don't know if this is a natural disaster. It was just a disaster. But
Just a general disaster.
yeah, I mean, I think we were releasing Creevers at the time. Working
I
on
was
the
about to
gun.
say I'm almost sure that was right around the release of Creevers, just because I know that Guns of Icarus launched in the middle of Sandy, and now Embr is launching in the midst of COVID, and so it only makes sense that Creevers launched in the midst of a building fire.
Someone asked, was that the inspiration for Embr?
The office setting on fire.
Yeah, the office on fire.
Howard's like, this would make a great video game. Like I'm picturing Howard. I'm picturing you standing, like holding the door open, like ushering everybody out, and then you just kind of like look off and like up to the left, like do 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 do, like thought bubble and like Embr gameplay is happening there. It's like do 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 do.
That's right. That's right.
Just like taking notes while the
You
building
know it.
burns.
I mean, you know it. It's just like Hurricane Sandy. Maybe we should make a game with just like barren landscapes and like just
Boats that fly.
Yeah, or like dust storms will just like ravage the landscape.
No more water. No more water anywhere.
Right. Wait a minute. We're kind of doing that too.
Was Amsterdam okay?
Amsterdam.
Is there any natural disasters? I don't think.
There's probably some. I don't know. I need to go back.
I think Amsterdam was okay.
When were all the fires going on?
Amsterdam.
There was a lot of.
Well, I remember like we were demoing. I think we were like working on. Oh yeah, I think when we released Guns for PlayStation, that was like the height of the LA fires.
Okay.
Let's see. What about like a moving train level?
Moving train.
Yeah, like the train is on
with
fire, but it's also
turrets?
still moving.
Someone like playing Final
carry.
Fantasy
No.
recently, or like
No turrets.
No.
Ooh.
An
Just like
emulation,
turrets.
and you need to, either have a car or drill the doors.
No, I'm like
Probably just
unironically though, a train fire. I mean, I'm thinking, I'm running through my head
The
about
safe zone would be a helicopter, clearly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well, I
it
mean,
would be
like-
like a helicopter on a train.
Oh man, boiler explosion. Have you guys seen train boiler explosions? Those are like legitimately terrifying. Like the aftermath, it looks like the train ends up looking like some sort of eldritch horror. Like it's spooky just because of the way that the metal like peels out from boiler explosions. It looks like it just has like a bunch of tentacles. It's scary, man.
Let's
I
see.
see. If Muse is prone to natural disaster, when is the volcanic evac sim coming out?
I mean.
what is this like? Like what are we doing? Like Pompeii? It's like, oh okay, Pompeii is blowing up. People are dying. Please call Embr. No problem. We'll show up. All right, we'll rescue Pompeii.
So that'll be in the middle of, we'll be making like a historic like Assassin's Creed like kind of game, where it's like some sort of sim. I don't know.
And of course, the Embr responders fuck it up, and so Pompeii end up burning down anyway. It fits with totally fits with like science fiction, time travel. So you can't change your
I
past.
once seen
Ever
You
time
can't.
travel.
I
You
once
can't
seen a
change the past.
screenshot that someone has like the Doom Eternal or Doom 2016's
Oh, yes.
wallpaper,
I
and
saw that.
there's
Was that on the Embr
the ad
Discord?
from Steam on for Embr, and it was totally like in it. Like it blended in. That was pretty cool.
Is it on the Discord? Where is it?
I think
Ember Doom
I do
Edition
remember
went.
seeing this image. I do remember seeing this image. So either someone DM'd it to me or I saw it on the Embr Discord.
I saw it on Twitter.
I think it was on Twitter.
Was it Twitter? I guess it was. It
Think
might have been
so?
Twitter. Might have been Twitter. I follow Embr on Twitter. Like any smart, handsome, attractive young person. I follow Embr on Twitter.
Okay then.
Erwin, I think you also follow Embr on Twitter, so I'm sure the same can be said about you.
Except that I'm not young or handsome.
Howard.
Whoa,
Howard,
sick burn.
the Embr Twitter disagrees.
Okay.
Self burn. Someone said, I don't use Twitter, fight me.
You
I
know what?
saw
That
it
is-
in Ember
that is your
Discord.
right.
Ember Minneapolis level.
Oh jeez.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man.
Oh my gosh,
That's
really,
oh man.
really early in Embr
soon.
development. Just like speaking of like cityscapes and whatnot, really early in Embr development, we had a like concept for actually driving your fire truck to locations.
Oh, I remember
Like-
that.
Yeah,
I saw it.
way
Yeah.
back. Like back when all of the buildings were just rectangles. Before we had any artists. Yeah, we ended up scrapping it just because it was like it just felt like padding. Like there was nothing interesting to do while driving around. Like, it felt like I remember making the comparison where like I would do this exactly like I did in LA Noire, which is like the first 3 levels I would drive to it and be like, wow, there's a whole city here, and then immediately afterwards I would just make my partner drive because I don't want to do nothing for 10 minutes between each location.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Season. My favorite part of San Andreas, way back,
Way back
was
in the
just
day.
driving around.
Yeah, I mean, like in a GTA game, that's kind of the point, is to just drive around and do nothing, and just kind of mess about. I'm not gonna say Embr is more focused than GTA, but it's the fun, interesting things to do are not are at location. There wouldn't be just random fires out in the street for you to interact with, or people to pick up and throw. It would just because that's well outside the scope of anything that we could put together. It would just be you wouldn't be able to leave the fire truck until you got to the level, and then when you got to the level, it wouldn't be there fully loaded for you to hop out and play. It would then jump into the loading screen and load the level. So
You could have
Yes.
poser cars that are trying to slow you down.
Hoser mobiles, just like Tim Hortons like delivery trucks.
What do you think of that, Emily?
I mean,
That's right. I always forget Emily is Canadian.
I am very Canadian. Yes, I am living in the land of the Canadas.
Emily Hoser confirmed.
Yeah, she's a spy. Oh man, no, I was that was well. The funny thing is that I did leave one of my one of my accolades in Embr out of my original introduction, which is there's a bit about me I didn't mention the first time around, eh? I also ended up doing the voice for the Hoser CEO, and that's just because when we were early on in development, we were like, oh, we just need some placeholder for this this boss, just some placeholder lines, and then we'll get a real voice actor to do it later. And so Matthew and I just walked into the stairwell and just recorded lines on his phone, and then put them in the game, and everyone loved it. And our sound guy, who is also Canadian, was just like, "This is perfect. Like, it sounds very vaguely Canadian, but I can't tell you where in Canada it would be from." And like everyone was just so gung ho about it that we
Probably
ended up
Newfoundland.
we just took me to a recording studio and we're like, "All right, kiddo, go nuts."
Oh, hey, bud.
Alright. That's interesting.
I got my toque and I'm going down to go to Tim's. You want a double double?
Oh, get me a double when you go down to Timmy's, and maybe get me a couple donut holes.
They don't call it their Timbits. Not
Timbits!
donut holes,
Timbits!
they're
Okay, I'm writing
Timbits.
that down. I'm putting that in my notes of Canadian slang. Timbits.
Hey, Cameron is a, Canadian Irish immigrant.
Yeah, I know. It's so many times in recording, I would be doing a line, and then I would get like 3/4 of the way through it, and I'd just be like, I've just gone full Irish at this point. I think we gotta redo the line.
And that's definitely a Newfoundland accent because it's very much influenced by Ireland and Scotland, and because they came from over there, and then the accent kind of came from all of the accents kind of merging together.
Wow. And here I was thinking I was going to be doing the teaching in this stream, and here I am learning.
I only
What an
know
enriching
2
experience
accents,
for all.
and I think I'm done with that. Only
Sweet
English and
Canada
American,
facts.
and that's it. Okay, I can also speak Russian English, but like, or Slovakian English. That's very. I don't know if it's specific to us or not, but it's very weird. It's different than Russian, surprisingly. Although Russians and our language is not like similar, but they have something. We also do. It's a Slavic language, so.
Yeah, no, that's all. It's always been super interesting to me. Like when like two like really strong languages kind of both exist in a region, and then they end up kind of conglomerating into one like different language. Like that's always just been interesting.
Someone said, "Oh, that's portable grump." Okay, the bagels
Yeah.
are still good though.
Because people are saying that Tim Hortons kind of sucks, and I was like, yeah, but the bagels are still fire though. The
Is it
bagels are the
bagels
best
or bagels?
That's a good question.
American English
accents out, huh?
as someone living in Brooklyn currently, bagel. But bagel is English and apparently also Canadian.
Yep.
All right, hang on. Bagel like an English person. All right, it's in the notes.
All right.
Bagel.
But the thing is, I am like in southern Canada. I am like the most southern. I'm like, so I'm probably the least like Canadian accent because we're so close to the States.
Mm-hmm.
Like I live like an hour away from Toronto, so it's much closer to you guys.
Yeah.
Ontario person asked if so Ontario, BC. I live in Ontario. Southern Ontario.
Oh.
I am nowhere near that.
Way out the middle of nowhere. I know Howard and I are living like 5 minutes away from each other. We haven't seen Howard in so long.
Yep. I haven't seen anyone. Well, like really, like I've been in my apartment for right at 2 months before I stepped out of my apartment. So I went 8 weeks straight without leaving my apartment. I finally went to the park, walked around and came back. At least now I try to go to the park like maybe once a week. But it's really dicey, man. Just like all this park is like packed with people. I'm like trying to I wear my obviously I wear my like face mask and whatever, but I'm just trying to dodge people now.
Yeah. I went to Costco today. That was a endeavor for sure.
Oh boy.
Yeah. They gave us face masks though, like
Well, that's
proper
nice.
ones. So that's
Yeah.
good.
Actually, so last week I went to the park. There were NYPD police officers standing there passing out face masks, and I was like, wow, that's kind of cool.
That's good.
Oh yeah. My great aunt actually made really good face masks for all of my roommates, like really nice cloth ones that fit over the face really well. They have like a sleeve inside for like a particulate blocker. So and they're stylish too. They're a nice cool gray that goes with any outfit. But, honestly, after all this is over, I might occasionally incorporate masks into my general style, sense, and sensibility. Because I kind of dig the vibes.
I like them a lot. I think they're good. And especially like even if you're just like regularly sick, I think it would be like a very good thing to have them kind of implemented to be like a cultural here in North America.
Yeah. Yeah. No. A lot of Asian countries just have them. Just it's very not uncommon to just
And
see someone.
it's such a good idea.
I agree. Once again, mostly because I think it's stylish and I think I look good in one, but also because it's a generally good
Yeah.
for public health in densely packed cities.
I have a mask that I bought way back in the day.
I made
This
some
one?
masks.
Nice.
You guys don't see it now, but you'll see it.
Yeah, once on the stream, the instant replay. Oh, that is nice.
Ooh.
Indeed, and it shines at night. Ooh.
See.
Ooh.
Something like that.
I just made ones out of like blue cotton that I had.
We I actually live with Matthew, who's the project lead and lead programmer for this game, and like we just just lived together before this, so it's every so often like like when we got to the point when we had to change the levels name from our internal names for all the levels to the ones that you see in the game, because as we just named levels internally, it was very boring. It was just we just went through the NATO standard alphabet, and then when we ran out of letters in that, we started just going by the Google Android, like just naming things after desserts, which is cute and fun, but it we wanted to give a lot more personality to the levels, so like that meeting of deciding what all the levels were named, I was just like, hey Matthew, come meet me downstairs and let's name the levels, and then we just sat at the dinner table with a piece of paper and just wrote them all out. Um, so it was nice to have an in-person work meeting again.
That's good. So I guess what's your process on like making a new level? Like does it first start out with like like an idea, a vision, or do you like I don't know, like how do you
Yeah, I went into a little high concept earlier in the call, but for anybody just joining us, the first thing that we do is I try to either I come to basically a design meeting with a bunch of different concepts for levels that will give them a unique identity, just kind of like a one word or one sentence descriptor that really none of the other levels have, that sets it apart from the other ones. And then I'll knock it around with a couple of different people, and we pick the best one for that we think would make a fun and interesting level. And then from there, I just basically keep that concept in mind, and also think what difficulty level is this going to be? What the way that I built like Oscar and Dent are two of my favorite levels that I've made, and the two of them are actually very similar. The
Dent.
main challenge of them is dealing with verticality. Obviously Dent, there's the verticality of the fact that you're on an elevated platform, but if you notice, even inside the buildings, there's a very thin 3-story area to the right and a 3-story area in the back, and in the front area, it's 1 or 2 stories, and you're moving up and down. Like the actual plate that the level is on is kind of small compared to some other levels. But in terms of thinking about difficulty, Oscar obviously, or not Oscar. What's it called? Oh gosh, it's not First Ave, it's not Utica, it's not Crab and Go, it's the other. Oh, is it Oscar Heights?
Oscar Heights, yeah, it's Oscar
okay,
Heights, right?
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay,
It's still Oscar.
That was the rack in my brain, because that was its dev name was Oscar.
Right.
That once again, that one also you have to deal with height and dealing with getting people down safely. But the level is much smaller. There's a lot less hazards in it. People are in easier to reach places in general. So
Just eat people on Oscar.
yeah. And the funny thing is you think it would be like Oscar would be like easier to put together because it's smaller. There's less to it. But like actually speaking, probably the two of them were about the same amount of difficulty to actually put together. Because just because I have to think about a lot of small moments and small navigational areas. Putting a long hallway in a level is really easy. And putting an outlet in a choke point in it, to make sure that people navigate it carefully. But in terms of where individual buildings and rooms of high interest are and how they connect to each other in interesting ways, even in a smaller level like Oscar is, just as much of a design challenge as something as big as Dent.
I see.
Yeah.
So he said, and you hid fire in one of the stairwells on Dent. That makes it the only map that I can't put all the fires out. Sad.
Yes. So stairwells are always going to be difficult to extinguish because level design secret, most stairs are cheating. That instead of the actual like stairs that you see, it is every stairwell and stair in Embr is actually just a ramp. There's an invisible plane on top of it, so that you just kind of glide up it instead of having to move over every individual stair. So what can happen is, because of the way that fire works and is generated, that it will basically slip under the plane that you step on, and then the water hits that invisible plane and doesn't actually hit the stairs underneath it. So yeah, Inner, you got me. I don't want you all. I've been working with Hoser. Emily and I are plotting against you together, making sure that fires start in ways that will never ever be able to be extinguished.
Will there be more teams than Hoser?
Well, you're gonna have to wait and find out. Those are I don't want to spill the beans on everything.
I like the sound of that.
You guys
Beans in the
gotta...
pan.
Yeah, beans in the pan. Put the lid on it to stop the grease fire.
If there will be like a Russian team or something like that, I'm your guy. Will there cans of beans we can spill?
I mean, there are cans that you can knock over.
Someone asked,
Can
are
we
you
spill
plotting against me?
Actually,
What if
that'd be
I
pretty
want
funny.
Hoser?
For the can, if I could, the destroy effect, like the little particles that kind of fly out. If I just made them like basically black beans essentially, in cans. So you break the can with the axe, and it just splatters black beans everywhere. That would certainly make me chuckle, and probably like 2 other people who happen to axe a can of beans.
And there's a
I imagine lots of
0.01% chance that all the beans that are spilled will bounce uncontrollably around the house.
Jumping beans.
What else do we have? Right. All right.
Yeah.
If you
anyone?
guys have any final questions, let us know. We'll be going out in less than 10 minutes, so just ask in the chat. We will respond. Even in Steam chat, I see you there. I see you there.
Emily, you said you had a question.
Yeah. What's the current status on Embr merch? Are we gonna get some spicy Embr merch and some little flints and fun? Because I want that. That'd be pretty good.
Shirts would be nice.
That's a Howard question.
Yep.
Maybe Flint plush. Like,
I would love a Flint plush. I would.
I want one.
I want one too.
He's so round. I love him.
He's
I want
so
shirts and
round.
stickers.
Emily straight in with the real questions. Yes.
I mean, we've got I've got my Embr polo that I wear to conventions and nowhere else.
Yeah. I think shirts would be good. Well, can I get an Embr tank top?
Oh, ooh, that'd be cool. I want like a. I just want like a T-shirt that's just got like a just like the Embr logo just on the breast.
Or even a jacket, just like the university.
Oh, just straight up, just the straight up university jacket.
Yeah.
Makes me run faster.
Yeah.
How does the level design philosophy differ between Embr and GOI?
Well, there's a totally different person doing it.
Yeah, Richard's the one who's making GOI maps.
Yeah. So I mean, it's like in terms of level design, the games are very, very, very different. Sort of the Muse through line is teamwork where a lot of our games, or particularly our multiplayer games, are very, very teamwork focused. But like in Embr, like a level for Guns of Icarus, you need to, because it's PvP, you need to think about both spawns, and you need to think about lanes of engagement, between both enemies, and where combat is likely to happen, and what cover is where, and where clouds roll through, and you need to make sure that things are balanced for both teams, but not just mirrored of each other. And that's just nature of design for PvP games. For a PvE game like Embr, I don't have to worry about making levels balanced. I are like, when is I get to think of difficulty. I can make levels particularly harder for one area, and I can I really only have to think about one team, really. And because the environment is such a big deal, it's the instead of interacting with other players, you interact with the environment. I think about that almost like maybe enemy AI in like a game like Doom. It's the number one thing you're interacting with. Where are they placed? Versus in Embr, I'm like, where are the outlets placed? Where does the fire start? Where will it spread to? I do still think about what lanes of engagement, right? Like, what are prime paths through the level? And part of the way I do that is just my own guesswork, and part of that as well is in early play testings. I watch people. I see where they like to go, where they like to stack people, and how they move through it. And if some areas are just too easy to move through, I will add some more difficulty in that area. And maybe it's other areas that just seemed too hard for them, I will make a little bit easier.
Someone also asked, do you ever have to worry about a specific tool being too OP and adjusting the levels to compensate?
Yes. There is, there's some very expensive and powerful tools that you can buy in Embr. And that's, part of the design philosophy is that, you want to save up for those good and powerful tools. And, obviously we don't want to just have a level where that particular tool is useless. So I will do things where, like, for example, a lot of times bonus cash is hidden on top of roofs, and it is very difficult to, because the way the grappling hook works, it's very hard to get on top of a roof with it because you need to grapple to something higher up and drop down. But if there's nothing higher up, it can be, you have to be really, clever to get there, where a ladder is just place it and go. So I think about things like that. I think about actually external navigation of levels is the most overpowered thing in the game. The less time you're spending in the building, the less time you're spending with fire and all of that stuff. So one of my favorite things that we have in the game, and they're used very tactfully in later levels, are the one-way windows. So the little metal windows with the beam in them, that you have to navigate through the level to get to them. But once you get to them and knock them out and eject them, they then are like a shortcut to navigate around the level a little bit easier.
So, Embr MOBA when?
Oh gosh, I'm trying to even think about what that would look like. Like, you would have all of the different characters as heroes and
Hoser against Embr.
Embr Mobile now available via Stadia.
MOBA.
Oh.
Like Dota, League of Legends.
Oh, I thought you meant
MOBA,
mobile.
yeah.
Never mind. We do have a mobile version via Stadia, so thank you very much.
Oh, you gotta. There's just in the MOBA. There's just a big effigy in the back of each base of Flint and the Hoser water droplet that's in the comics in the on the Discord. And the towers are I don't know, like buildings that you have to burn down.
All right. Or Paragon. Paragon? I don't know that one.
MOBA.
Is it MOBA?
I don't like MOBAs. MOBAs are too hard for me. I don't like.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at video games, so.
I think so. I think MOBA's too hard for me too. Like
Right. How about an AR game like Pokemon Go? And you get the most points by running into actual fires.
God.
Sounds like. Oh! You mean Lawsuit Simulator?
I mean, in a way, it's kind of flattering, right? It's basically just like, oh, what's your favorite game, and we'll make an Embr version of it. That's cool.
Right. Epic made Paragon. It shut down after Fortnite success. Oh.
So was it like a?
I didn't know about Fortnite for a while, so I didn't know that.
Battle Royale, Embr Battle Royale. There's one client in the middle of the map.
Somewhere on the map, and you need to like get him.
And the fireworks hit from the outside. Yeah, it's perfect.
Embr captured the flag. You just try to get a client into the.
That's in both rescue zones. Oh my gosh, that's funny.
At some point, if you guys wrestle and tug at the client too hard, it might just die.
All right,
game over. Game over. Nobody wins.
We're almost out of time, but we are working on an update. Is that
yes.
ready?
Yeah. I mean, so we think we have like right now. So let's let me do just kind of a history of the update. So like a lot of the fixes in game have already been made that we wanted to make. The issue was that because we support cross platform with Stadia, and so we had gone through we actually went through Stadia cert and tried to get that get everything ready, but unfortunately the Stadia cert didn't pass because I think we just introduced some Stadia specific issues with the patch. So now that's delayed. So I think our alternative plan was to basically just release a Steam Steam patch, but the problem is that with cross-platform, that's going to be a little bit of a problem. Yeah, so I think now we're probably just going to hold it back for just through the weekend, so we can do more multiplayer. Just do more multiplayer testing. Yeah,
But
and yeah.
It is coming. Patch is coming soon. We are actively working on fixing bugs.
Yes, definitely.
Looks over to my list of bugs on
Yeah.
my other monitor.
Yeah, we're very actively bugged.
Howard's
Yes.
just like, hey, can you log these? I'm like, oh, all right. Cameron.
Cries in level design. But yeah,
All right.
those are helpful. for
Any
people
final thoughts?
logging those. Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was fun, just kind of hanging out with you guys in chat. Hope to do it again sometime.
All right.
Cool.
Good time.
And with that, I guess.
Dev Games lobby is up. Password is hoser.
Are you a spy?
Sorry, go ahead. It was Embr last week.
Oh, okay. And with that,
no.
we are ending this fireside. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back next week. Well, have a good one. Take care. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.